I'll be ranking these guys from my first choice to my third choice, and if you're a football lover, if you understand football, if you watch these guys play, it will be pretty easy for you to make a choice of who the very best is in their prime. Of course, these guys, individually, these guys are incredibly talented. Of course, one of the very best players of that generation. And, I'm going to be ranking them from from my third choice to my first choice. And of course, no disrespect to any of them, these guys are incredibly talented. So my third choice here, based off of what I saw, because I was opportune to watch Gareth Bale, I was opportune to watch Mohamed Salah, I watched Eden Hazard, and I saw what these guys could do on the pitch. So my third choice here could be Gareth Bale. Even from his time at Tottenham Hotspur, you could see that this guy was always making the difference for Tottenham. Even though they were unable to win any trophy, throughout his stay at the club, but you could see that this guy was incredibly talented. His speed and agility on the ball, he was just their best player. He could do everything. His ability to take set pieces and everything, even from being a defender, from being a left back, to becoming one of the very best attackers in the league. Even before moving to Real Madrid, you could see that this guy was one of the very best. Even when he got to Real Madrid, he was still one of their very best players. Combining with Benzema and Cristiano Ronaldo, these guys won lots of trophies, Champions League trophies, La Liga titles, and all of that. This guy was one of the very best. Of course, he played for one of the very best team in the world, and of course the very best team in the world, which is Real Madrid. And you could see that this guy was still making a difference for Real Madrid at some point. So it will be based off of what I saw, on the field of play among these three. So he will be my third choice on this list. And then my second choice will be Mohamed Salah. Of course, this guy has been incredible for Liverpool. Before he came to Liverpool, he was at Roma, he was at Fiorentina, I think so. He was at Basel. He did incredibly well for them, but it wasn't that prominent, of course. But since he came to Liverpool, he has been one of their best players. He's broken several Premier League records. He sets records, for himself as well. He's had lots of assists, to his name. When it comes to statistics, this guy beats every other player in this list. When it comes to statistics, he's the king of statistics. Of course, he's had lots of it. So, but I don't judge players based off of statistics. I judge them based on performance for their team and their consistency and everything. When I mean consistency, Mohamed Salah has been consistent for Liverpool. Despite his age, he has been incredible for Liverpool. Of course, they just won the league, and so Mohamed Salah is second on the list for me. This guy is just a beast. Of course, he's just a beast on his own. His ability to score lots of goals, create chances, and give assists as well. So Mohamed Salah, number 2 on the list for me. And then number 1 on the list is Eden Hazard. Of course, if you watch football, if you are a football lover, you wouldn't have any reason to disagree with my choice right now, because Eden Hazard, even before he came to Chelsea, he has been world class. Before he came to Chelsea, he has been world class already. In his time at Lille, helping them to win the league, where Paris, PSG, Olympique Marseille, Olympique Lyon, were still strong with them. This guy broke so many records, winning the young best player, in the league, creating that record, winning their domestic league, and of course other cup competitions for Lille, even before coming to Chelsea. And when he got to Chelsea, of course, he was the best in the Premier League. He was just the best. There's no debate about that. He was just the very best on the field of play. He was just a nightmare to defenders. Right now, if you ask Premier League defenders who played alongside him or who played while he was in the Premier League, they will tell you that Eden Hazard was the most difficult player to play against. He was just a nightmare. Of course, Hazard, his name already says it all. So in my opinion, he's the best among of these three in their prime. He was just the best. You can't stop him. You can't stop Eden Hazard. He doesn't need to score or assist. And among of these three, he's still the player who has won, the highest number of Man of the Match awards. This guy, on his day, you can't compete against him. Of course, he can just dismantle a whole team on his own. He can win matches on his own. He can do things on his own, even not just for his club and for his country as well. His time at Belgium, even ever since he retired, you could see how deteriorating Belgium has been. And of course, you can't undermine that. So Eden Hazard is number 1 on the list for me. It's just my opinion anyway.